Greetings everyone. So today our topic is related to the difference between formal and informal vocabulary. So let's see what formal and informal vocabulary is. But before initiating our lesson, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe it to get more updates related to the different topics which I'll be uploading and related to the fun and entertainment playlist which I have recently started. So let's discuss about the formal language first. Formal language is less personal than informal language, and it is used when writing for professional or academic purposes like graduate school assignments. We also know that the formal language does not use colloquialism and contractions or first person pronouns such as I or we. Moving ahead with informal language, we know that informal language is more casual and spontaneous. It is used when communicating with friends or family, either in writing or in conversation, and it is used when writing personal emails, text messages, and in some business correspondence. The tone of informal language is more personal than formal language. And first, let's discuss about contractions that in informal language, the improvements can't be made due to budget cuts. And for formal language, we are supposed to write improvements cannot be made due to the budget restrictions. So you can see the difference between these sentences, that how the can't can be used with apostrophe or a contraction, and how in formal language you cannot use it because you have to write in full spellings. For the phrasal verbs, as you can see that the balloon was blown up for the experiment and the balloon was inflated for the experiment. So one of them is formal and another one is the informal. The first one is informal and the second one formal language. So slang include you can say the how you when and informal, or you can use slang language or slang, or you can say that colloquialism. So the professors still count on the students to use correct grammar and punctuation in essays, and professors expect students to use correct grammar and punctuation in essays. So you are observing over here that professors still count on students and professor expect. So there are the two differences, that how you can use the slang or how you can use the you can say formal language, or either expect instead of still count on. For first person pronouns, you can see that I considered various research methods for the study. Various research methods were considered for the study. So over here you can see the difference between the informal and formal language. So in the next example, you can see that during the interview, we asked the applicants for a personal reference. And in the second one, you can see that during the interview, applicants were asked to. So you're not writing that we asked, you are saying that during the interview, applicants were asked to provide a personal reference. So this is more formal language or more formal vocabulary. So here are a few words, as you can see that in the first side, in your right hand side, that the formal language words written, and in your left hand side there are informal words. So instead of using in your sentence the word sight in informal, you can use vision in formal language. Instead of hurry, you can use haste. Instead of kidding, you can use jesting and break down, collapse. Instead of childish, you can use the word infantile. Instead of empty, you can use vacant. Instead of the give, you can write provide. Instead of the makeup, you can use the word invent. Instead of thanks, you can use the word gratitude. Instead of the let, you can use the word permit. And put down, set down, instead of all these two words, you can write deposit. So here you can see the difference between formal and informal sentences. In the formal, you can use the word, or you can write your sentence used in academic writing or contract letter, and you can see for the informal word or informal language, informal diction used in non-academic writing, and the formal one is used to unfamiliar people, strange people, or someone that you respect like teacher or boss. And on the other side, you can see that informal language you use to familiar people, family or close friends. And in the formal language, the third point is that there will be no use of slang words all language or colloquialism, while on the other hand, for informal, you can see that contraction, slang, or colloquialism is used. So for the complete sentences, obviously for formal, that is a requirement that your some complete sense of the sentence should be there, or your sentences should be complete. Or while on the other hand, for the informal, you can see that the single words, phrases, and fragments, you can use your sentences in that sort of phrases. You can say, you can just convey your point in the form of the single words, or in even in the fragments, because that is informal. And for formal, it should be passive voice. For informal, obviously you have to write in an active voice. Latinate verbs are there in formal language, while on the other hand, in formal, you have phrasal verbs. And you can see that linking words are there for formal language. For informal, little use of conjunctions are there. Compound sentences with phrases and clauses are there in formal, while on the other hand, you can see that in informal, simple sentences in conversational order, subject, verb, and object is there. So for formal, again, you can see that the formal language, he, she, they, in reference to the readers, and in informal, you can use the word you in reference to the readers. So this is the basic, or you can say the main difference, that in informal language you can use he, she, they while referring to the readers, while in informal you can use you in reference to the readers. So instead of the nevertheless, you can use nonetheless. Instead of inquire, you can use ask instead of inquire. So instead of do, you can use accomplish, informal. So find out is informal. You can use the word ascertain for formal. So for and, you can use terminate. For about, you can use regarding. And in instead of also, you can word in additions. Instead of nonetheless, you can use nevertheless. So most of the time people use nevertheless or nonetheless, so that's not the big difference between these two. But people try to use nevertheless instead of the nonetheless, and they used to write nevertheless in the formal language. So instead of show, you can use the word exhibit for formal. Instead of ask for, you can use request for formal. Instead of ask, you can use word require. Instead of look at, you can use the word examine. Instead of see, you can use the word perceive. So there are formal and informal simple examples here. So formal example sentences and informal example sentences are shown here in this slide in order to make it more vivid and clear for you about the difference between the formal and informal vocabulary, language, diction. As you can see that in the first sentence, it is essential to purchase the required materials. This is a formal sentence, while on the other hand, you need to buy the stuff you need. This is informal sentence. Then in the next one, you can see that the meeting will commence at approximately 3 p.m. And in informal sentence, you can write it in this way, that the meeting will start at about 3 p.m. So in the next sentence, you can see we must utilize the available resources efficiently. On the other hand, you can use this sentence as informal, like we have to use what we have got wisely. In the next sentence, you can see I will arrive prior to the scheduled time, and in informal, you are writing I'll come before the set time. So the last sentence, you can see subsequently we will review the outcomes, and in informal example sentence, you can write it in this way, that later we will go over the results. So therefore, it is imperative to prepare in advance. This is formal sentence. So make sure you get ready ahead of time. This is informal sentence. Nevertheless, we face some obstacles along the way, and nonetheless is informal. Nonetheless, we ran into a few problems. This is informal sentence. Could you please inquire about the status of the project? This is formal sentence. Can you ask how the project is going? This is informal sentence. We aim to accomplish all the tasks on the list. We want to do everything on the list. This is formal sentence. As you can see that in the previous slides, we have discussed this thing, how we can use the word accomplish in formal sentences or diction, and we can use the word do for informal language or vocabulary. In the next last sentence, you can see the let's ascertain if this is the correct answer. And in informal sentence, you can see that let's find out this is the right answer. So find out is informal word and ascertain is formal word. So again, it's written, this is the crux of the whole thing, which we have discussed, the difference between formal and informal, and this is just the revision. You can go ahead with this slide. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe it to get more updates related to the lesson which I'll be uploading. If you want me to upload any other lesson which you want me to explain it for you, so you can write it in the comment section. Thank you.